Welcome to Homebuyer Seminar. I'm Bill Gross, along with my colleagues,
Patricia Castillo.
and
Shannon Lender.
and we get together. We talk about real estate and a lot happening. I mean, I just open escrow, getting ready to take some listings, and I turn around and Patricia's got a property going on, and Shannon's got some news he wants to share with us. And interest rates are up, they're down, they're up. Where the hell are they? Excuse me. Where the heck are they? What's going on, guys?
Getting a little excited there, Bill.
There's a lot going on. This is real estate, man. It's the new year. We're up and running. The bowl games are done, and football's kind of the last couple of games of the year. Like, it's time to get back to business. I'm excited.
Me too. Absolutely.
So what's going on? You mentioned property you're working on, Patricia. What do you got going?
So I have a condo right now in Monterey Hills. It's right on, it's a little pocket right in between South Pass and Highland Park. And it's a top floor unit. The HOA is doing a lot of renovations to the building right now. So the outside is going to be completely renovated, new landscaping. They're replacing the windows right now. And so we were priced at $558. Now we're priced at $519, which is a really great price for that area. You're close to York Boulevard. You're close to South Pasadena, Fair Oaks, Alhambra, not too far from downtown. And you have 2 assigned parking spaces. So you're close to the 110 as well. And there was an assessment that was, assigned to each homeowner. So they're paying for the assessment. But the beauty of this is that the buyer is going to come in to this nice renovated building, and it's going through a transformation right now. So anybody that buys it is going to be living in a beautiful, beautiful complex. And the interior is completely remodeled as well. So nice. Great price, $519. I think I'll be doing an open house this weekend. It's Hart Terrace. On that street, it's 4239 Via Arbolada. On that street, there's a lot of other...
That's Via Arbolada for the rest of us who don't speak Spanish with a proper accent.
There's a lot of...
Look at that view.
It's a beautiful view. There's so many little walking paths. It's close to Debs Park, which is a really common little, famous little park that people go there. All the locals go there. So a lot of places to walk and hike. It's a beautiful place. It's right up on the hill. Yeah. So you have nice views, very quiet, big Asian population up there as well. So it's a really, really nice location.
I think really underrated part of LA. I mean, if there's such a thing, the part, north of the 10, east of the 110, up in those hills there. Right. I think I mentioned I go there for medical care at USC Keck, which is a huge sprawling campus. If you've ever been by there, it's like amazingly.
Treatment.
I'm sorry?
I said that's where I was getting all my cancer treatment. Yes.
It is amazing campus. It was a couple buildings, but they have residential housing now, and they're just buying up everything and building all over there. And then as a result, a lot of jobs, people want to live there. And so that area is turning over and becoming quite nice. And so you're seeing now, this is a nice upgraded, this is really nice condo. Are these real pictures or are these computer generated?
No, these are real pictures.
That's nice.
Yes, they're not overly enhanced. And I've had buyers come in and say, oh, it looks just like the pictures. And
it's supposed to. Look at that view. That's the thing about this area is the views are just amazing. I mean, these views in Beverly Hills or North Hollywood would be astronomically expensive. And it's close to downtown, which means if you work downtown, it's convenient. It means it's close to a lot of services, stores, restaurants, nightlife, activities, all that.
Yes, it's close to York Boulevard, where there's a lot of bars, coffee shops, mom and pop shops, eateries, so parks, schools.
Really underrated area, underrated part of LA. I don't even know what you call that part of LA, being a Los Angeles myself.
Isn't it northeast? It's still northeast LA, right?
Yeah.
It is, but that pocket there specifically, Monterey you have Hills. Like 2 pockets, Montecito Heights and Monterey Hills, which are adjacent to each other. And then you have South Pass here and Highland Park here.
But I mean, I lived my whole life, about 2 years in LA County. I never heard of Monterey Hills or Montecito Heights until I sold a couple of houses in that neighborhood. And I remember when I got the listings and did my research, like this is really nice. Now it's old. It's a very old part of LA that's been turning over, right? This part of the
Right.
first part settled, I think, in LA. And so you have a lot of these really older homes, older buildings, older institutions, churches, and things like that. And then over time, as people get older, they replace these things. And so you have these new buildings coming in that are just really, really nice.
Yeah, and for
Yes.
the price, I mean, and the location, I mean, you can't beat it.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
if you work in West LA, this is not a good place to live. If you live but if you work in downtown, instead of commuting to Pasadena or commuting to West LA or other places, this is really nice. And the outdoors walk and stuff. There's a lot of hills to hike up there and stuff. Yeah, really nice.
There is a lot of places to walk and hike and just sit out there and just enjoy nature. You can hear all the birds. It's just a really nice, relaxing environment.
I'm used to that where I live. It's funny. I live really in West LA, city area, but we have a lot of green belts and backyards with trees and stuff with birds, and it's so comforting to hear, birds noises. It's like you're not in an asphalt jungle. You really are, and I think in this area as well. You're really out in, you're not in nature, but you're not too far away. Where it's there's life, there's energy, there's sunlight, there's all that. Okay, good. Well, congratulations on that. Good luck with getting that sold. Again, that's listed for
Thank you. $519.
Great price.
$519. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo, 4239 Via Arbolada,
Arbolada.
number 303,
Yes.
or 303 for the
303.
gringos. Okay, Shannon Lander, what's up in the real estate news that caught your attention this past week?
Yeah, so obviously there's a big news that Trump is telling Fannie and Freddie, which are the two biggest, the government-backed agencies that buy, FHA conventional loans, and they are here saying, hey, you know what? He wants them to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds because I guess this cash is just sitting on the sidelines. So
Yeah.
you had a good take on it, Bill, and wanted to get you guys' opinion on, do you think this is going to actually help? Because we see all these nice headlines, but for the people on the boots, that have the boots on the ground, is this going to help first-time home buyers?
I did actually write about this in my
not.
blog, and I think that just to explain what the theory is,
Yeah.
that when the government has cash and buys something, it puts the cash back in the economy. If what's buying is a mortgage bond, anything you buy in bulk will raise the price, more competition. And what's interesting is mortgage bonds go up in price of the bond, the yield or the interest rate for that bond goes down. So when you raise the value and you buy more bonds, you raise the value. And if you raise the value of the bonds, it's a way to lower interest rates. And so traditionally, it's been one of the jobs of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. So, of course, anything Trump says has to be attacked by the other side. It becomes political. But if we step out of the politics, as a taxpayer, I was shocked to find out Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac aren't just quasi-government agencies, but they're so failed that they're run by courts. They're in conservatorship, or I guess receivership, and have been for like 10 or 15 years. It's just like a one-time thing. They've been financially insolvent or incompetent, for the last decade. And so you find they have $250 billion in the bank. They're like, well, hold on. What are you doing with that money? What, could they rebate the taxpayers? I'm all for that. Could they pay down the debt? I'm all for that. But another way to improve the economy and get it out of their hands is buy mortgage bonds, which would, at a slight level, be a positive to lower interest rates. And so, of course, I don't know that I even want Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac to exist. That's a whole political discussion. But there's no reason for them to hold on to $250 billion of cash. Like, why would a government agency have our tax dollars and not do something, either use it or give it back? Either one's fine with me. So again, there's a lot of politics about this in anything that the administration does. But as a taxpayer, to me, I'm fine either way. Either buy the bonds or give the money back, and I'll take my share. I'll raise my hand for that. I don't know. Patricia, did you see any news on this and any reaction, or am I off track here?
No, I mean, I think it's like a short-term push if that were to happen.
Yeah.
So it's looking at what the long-term effect is going to be. Is this going to be just a short-term push where later on the feds can also increase the rates if they deem necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the other thing that we have right now is this lock-in effect in the housing market where I think 40% of homeowners either have their house paid off or owe hardly anything on their home.
Yeah.
And so they don't want to move and put their home on the market because they don't want to go and pay 6 or 7% on a new mortgage. And so, this would create that push for sellers to see the interest rates are lower. They can now go and maybe upsize, put their home on the market, create more listings for buyers that are coming into the market. And now we have the buyer pool that is now in the like a 40, 42-year-old, right? Before it was in the 30s, now it's in the 40s because buyers are waiting longer to buy a home. They're trying to save money. They're getting established in their careers. And so there's other things that are affecting our housing market as well, not just the rates. We also need more listings on the market, which that might help. And we also need more housing, right? We need more homes to be built. And so, exactly. So more affordable housing as well, not just luxury homes that a lot of, the middle class, if there's even a middle class left, can't even afford, right? So when you think about a first-time buyer, they don't want to come in and spend $1 million. I mean, they want to be at maybe 600. That's more of a sweet spot for a first-time buyer. But those homes now are really, they need fixing. And you're not going to get a nice new home for $600,000 unless you're moving out to Banning and Beaumont, right? Where there's new construction out there.
Nothing wrong with Banning and Beaumont, but it's a long way from home unless you work out there or live out there.
Exactly. If it fits your world to relocate out there, then that would make sense for you.
Yeah.
But a lot of buyers that I talk to, they want to stay more inland. They want to stay within LA County. And so, even Palmdale, Lancaster, I remember when that area was being developed, nobody wanted to live out there. It just seemed so far. It seemed like you were just going to the moon. And once they developed it and there was supermarkets out there and Costco and
huge stores, huge Walmart, huge stores. Yeah.
Now it's no problem. I mean, people are moving out there. I've sold homes out there as well because it's about a 40-mile drive, depending on when you could avoid that traffic, depending on when you're going to be coming on the 14, driving into LA and driving out.
More people are able to either avoid commuting or avoiding commuting daily, right? There are more and more people who commute to work 2 days a week instead of 5.
Right.
That cuts your commute time dramatically by 60%. And so even driving further, the costs kind of make up for it. And so there's not quite the mass transit system that was promised to support those areas still. I was out there. I have a listing in, I have one in Palmdale and one in Lancaster. And while the listings are both ugly because we have squatters on one, and the other property wasn't well kept, double-ish. But the neighborhoods were really nice. I mean, I remember it was just, now I was there in December when it's green and lush. Of course, in the summertime, it's very dry and looks different.
Right,
but,
very hot.
But it was, nice neighborhoods, gated community, a lot, like you say, a lot. It wasn't the case when I was first doing business out there. It was new construction. It was just houses, and you have to drive a long way to do your shopping. Now, like most suburban areas, there's shopping centers and huge ones, huge Walmart, huge, nice, new shopping centers. Not even like I live in LA, and they keep closing down and making them smaller. So,
right.
That's interesting.
Well,
Shen, what do you think? You saw the mortgage. Now, you saw the mortgage news. What do you think about that as a mortgage lender?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, hopefully it's better because the only thing I'm thinking is why they would hold this money is maybe because not enough people qualify for the current, qualifications. Because I never heard anyone that doesn't qualify for an FHA or conventional loan not getting one, right? So maybe I'm thinking, hey, are they, too tight with regulation? Also, the other thing too is this going to cause inflation, right? Is this another form of quantitative easing? I don't know. Like if the cash is already there, they're not really printing it. It's just sitting on the sidelines. But putting this cash in the system, is it going to create an inflationary situation? I think what Patricia is saying is right. It's going to probably create a short-term boost, but long-term, how is this going to affect everyone? But then again, with quantitative easing, I think real estate is a good defensive play when it comes to your wealth building,
Yeah.
right? I wouldn't say it's like the unless you flip, right, you can get really, really aggressive, but having a real estate asset is probably a hedge against inflation in a way. So it's kind of there's no one. I don't think there's like one good answer of like, is this good or bad? I think it's kind of both, in a way. But like you said, if there's that they have cash on the sidelines, why?
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 Why is
Yeah,
my money in your bank account? And I'm a taxpayer. Why is it
yeah,
not in my bank account? That's always what I want to know. Why do you need it?
yeah. So I think
And
short
if
term
you
it's
have, and if
good.
you don't have an answer, just give it back. And you don't have to say you're sorry. Just give me back.
Yeah, and I think since we've been at 2 years ago we were at 8%. Last year, 7% most of the year.
Mm,
Even coming down to 6%. And when the
mm,
headline showed 5.99% interest rate, I did a reel on my Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and it seemed like a lot of people were excited that the interest rates were actually below 6%. So if the interest rates drop down even further
mm.
in a short-term period, that boost is going to actually raise prices, right? Just like during
Yeah.
the pandemic when
Yeah.
interest rates were down to 3%, homes were selling for 200,000 over asking.
Right.
And in the long term, you're going to have buyers that are buying homes and even sellers that are also relocating. Maybe they're moving out of the area for whatever reason, but they're also going to be buyers and they're going to be paying a lot more for a home because we're going to have multiple offers. And of course, it's always price driven, right? So, which offer is the seller going to pick? The highest one. And so that demand with the lower interest rates, I think is really going to increase prices and they're going to be artificially inflated
But do you
because
Yeah.
think it will be back to 2020? Because I think the difference between now and 2020, I don't know what you guys' thoughts are, but this AI situation in terms of jobs, and then don't we have a few refineries that left California? That's another thing which I think, hey, if you still have a job and still have income, do you think it's going to be the same as 20? Because I think everyone had a job in 2020. There was not enough people. So they had money and lower interest rates. It just kind of created this storm of price hikes. But I don't know. I'm seeing a lot of people struggling with employment, some layoffs. And again, these jobs are not going to come back, I don't think. And then we have that refinery. I have someone in Bakersfield, an Asian in Bakersfield, that she's got a ton of listings out there because it's a ghost town almost because that refinery just left.
Right. Well, I think you have two different stories here. One's California, which seems bent on self-destruction, and economies are built on energy. California used to be the number one energy provider state of the country when I was a young boy, and we've worked really hard to stop drilling and stop refining. And also, if you remember, we had a law in California to eliminate gas cars being sold even. So we're going to force everything to be electric. So, that you can make, if you want to make the case that's good for the ecology and for the climate, you can make that case. But the price of that is unquestionably a horrific effect on the economy. In other states, it's the opposite. They've embraced that and they're building AI centers and they're building power generation. And, I was talking to my friend of mine in Arizona, HVAC, not contractor owners, like HVAC guys who install for these centers are in such demand. Someone getting $300,000 a year for a job that maybe you graduated high school and took a 6-month apprenticeship and then went to work someplace and then you got your certificate, your union certificate, maybe a year later, making $300,000 a year. And so I think that there are people getting left behind. If you're an Uber driver and all you want to be your life as an Uber driver, you're going to get replaced. But if you are able to have jobs that people used to have as middle-class Americans, electrical jobs and construction jobs, companies have to pay more for those people because there's less and less of them. So you're right, California thing, and that's why California leads the country in people moving out of the state because we don't have jobs here like in other states. So it's hard. I'm a native Californian. It's hard for me. On one hand, on the other hand, my son-in-law is a CPA doing really well, hard worker, and using technology to help build his business. He went from running a company's department to launching his own CPA firm, and he's doing great. So I think that for those, the problem is, and you have to be sensitive, for the people who are not taking the initiative and are used to just walking in and getting a job and punching a clock going home, they're under pressure. They have to step up their game. And if they do, there's a lot of reward possibility. But there are people who don't or can or don't want to, they're going to be under pressure. And so we're watching kind of that, I think that divergence happen. For me, I think it's the greatest time of my career. I can't believe I'm 67 years old. I'm getting ready to list. I have 2 different portfolios of properties I'm bidding on or competing to get right now. I should have been put out of business by young real estate agents. But with technology, I'm so much more effective doing these podcasts, for example. Couldn't do that 10 years ago. Nobody would know who I am anymore because I don't want to travel to events. So again, I think you have to take a look at and do a self-assessment. And there's opportunities for everybody, but there's also, if you don't take the opportunities, I think Patricia's right and you're right. There are people who are going to get left behind, and it's going to be sad. And I don't know how we best deal with that. It's a very complicated problem.
Yeah, I think what we're doing now, educating and, spreading the word.
That's what I can do. I mean, I feel like what I can do is help people and say anybody can save money, live on less than you make, put some away, buy property or something else, save money so your money goes to work for you. And I think that's a lesson that I want to try to pass on to my kids and grandkids, as well as, my platform. And I know you guys also have helped me do that. So I appreciate, this relationship.
Likewise.
Thank you. And so that's why we're here, is to provide as much information, and not just from things that we're reading or we're learning about, but personal experiences as well. Things that we've personally dealt with clients, properties. We have so many different situations and scenarios that come up, complex ones, tier ones, negotiations. So we bring that all to you live every week so you guys can learn as much as possible.
Try to. We do our best.
That's right.
Well, again, we got a little longer here today. It was kind of an interesting conversation. Patricia, somebody wants to get a hold of you either about your condo in Monterey Hills or any other property. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
My cell phone, 323-365-9909.
Fantastic. And Shannon, the lender, wants to get a hold of you?
Yep. My Instagram, FUND Fund with Shannon, or you can reach out to me, 661-317-8484.
Fantastic. I'm at Bill Gross Probate on social media. If I can help, please reach out. We do this every week. New episode dropping on Fridays on your favorite social media. If I can help in any way, reach out on behalf of Patricia and Shannon. Make today your best day ever. Thanks so much.